Let me ask you something. When you watch Shai Gilgeous-Alexander drive to the basket and draw a foul, what is your immediate reaction? For a growing number of fans, the answer comes down to a single word: frustrated. Recently, a post from Brick Center went viral, claiming Shai was flopping on virtually every play. The video pulled in 6.5 million views, and the comments were unsparing. People called him the new NBA logo. Others called him the most fraudulent MVP in recent memory. And one of the more cutting observations was this: he's talented enough that he doesn't need to be doing any of this. What made it worse was the context. Those plays were pulled exclusively from the first quarter of a single game. At this point, the NBA can no longer look the other way. Shai is on the verge of winning his second consecutive MVP award. The Thunder are among the favorites to capture their second straight championship. He is only 27 years old, and by every measure, he should be the face of a potential dynasty and the defining star of an entire league. Instead, he has become the symbol of everything that casual and dedicated fans alike have grown to resent about the modern game. Here's a number worth sitting with: 57.5. That is Shai's free throw rate during the current NBA playoffs, meaning the percentage of his field goal attempts that result in a foul call. Not only is that figure comfortably the highest of any guard in the league, it is also 14% higher than his own free throw rate from last year's playoffs. That trajectory matters. It means this isn't leveling off, it is escalating. And the reason it keeps escalating is straightforward. The NBA isn't simply allowing it to happen. The league is actively incentivizing it. Right now, we're watching the Lakers completely unravel, trying to figure out how to defend this Thunder team. Austin Reeves is visibly pleading with the officials to intervene. While Shai has become the most recognizable face of the foul drawing movement, he is far from the only player being rewarded for selling contact. The behavior is spreading. It has become contagious across the league.
But again, the Lakers' philosophy is anybody but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. This is a big-time acting job by Chet Holmgren.
This particular play was originally called a foul on DeAndre Ayton, after Shai went to the ground and sold contact as though he had suffered a broken jaw. The Lakers challenged the call, and it was overturned. Shai faced zero consequences for the flop. None. LeBron James, who is certainly no stranger to flopping accusations himself, and we're just being honest here, was so visibly fed up with the way the referees were managing this game that he completely lost his composure on the sideline. And this is exactly what happens when a league systematically rewards deceptive behavior. Frustration builds to a breaking point, and then, almost inevitably, we see even more flopping in response, because if the system is going to reward it, why would anyone stop? In the 2025 Western Conference Finals, Shai drew 14 or more free throws in 3 of the 5 games he played. That is not a coincidence. That is a pattern. Anthony Edwards saw this coming before the series even tipped off. And in Game 1, the following play made it clear that this was going to define the entire matchup.
Play took place.
You're not giving up an easy 2 in a conference final.
Gilgeous-Alexander this time draws the foul. T-Wolves upset.
Anthony Edwards is essentially the anti-Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Ant carries one of the lowest foul rates in the league. By most measures, he represents what many would call an ethical approach to the game. He takes contact, he doesn't manufacture it. But this is the point where we need to be straight with each other. I already know some of you think this entire conversation is overblown. I've been reading the comments from every angle, and that might be exactly where you stand. And to be fair, Shai does attack the basket at one of the highest frequencies in the league. There are also players like Luka Doncic who actually shot more free throws than Shai did this regular season. So Shai's defenders aren't working without ammunition. They have statistics to point to. But the eye test doesn't need statistics. It just needs you to watch.
And what we are watching is Shai deliberately jumping into defenders to generate contact, snapping his head back on incidental bumps 18 feet from the basket, and then calmly stepping to the line with a smile while the free throws pile up. The numbers can frame it however they want. The clips you are watching in this very video will speak for themselves. On the Pat McAfee show, Tyrese Halliburton was asked directly whether he believed this style of play was damaging the game of basketball. His response:
"There are children watching this guy. They're going to be copying him."
Stop it.
No.
It's so overblown.
Overblown!
It's a lot. Come on, guys. What do you mean? Selling is a part of the game. You guys flopping, selling, it's a part of basketball.
And Tyrese is right in that clip, but not entirely in the way he intended. The Shai situation is being somewhat overblown, not because he isn't the foul merchant people are describing, but because flopping and selling contact have become an accepted part of professional basketball. The logic is straightforward. When the best players in the world draw fouls through deception and get handed MVP trophies while doing it, every other player in the league is going to follow that same blueprint. If the NBA isn't penalizing anyone for playing this way, why wouldn't a young player entering the league think, if flopping gets me more free throws get me a bigger contract, so why would I ever stop? Tyrese thought he was defending Shai in that clip, but what he was actually telling us is that we may just need to accept flopping as a permanent fixture of the modern game, whether we enjoy watching it or not. And based on some evidence I've come across, I'm genuinely not confident that it's going away anytime soon. But let's stay grounded for a moment. Even if you believe this is overblown, it's worth paying attention to what's happening around you. Far too many casual basketball fans have turned on this version of the sport entirely. They are calling the NBA unwatchable. They are saying Shai is a manufactured superstar being carried by referee favoritism. You might be a devoted fan who sees nothing wrong with any of this, but I would be willing to bet that you know plenty of people who watch the NBA casually and admit they switch the game off the moment they see a blatant flop. Most fans simply don't want to watch a basketball game where players are driving the lane with the primary goal of drawing a whistle rather than actually finishing at the rim. And because players like Tyrese Halliburton are quietly benefiting from these same calls themselves, most stars aren't going to publicly call Shai out, which is unfortunate for an entirely separate reason. Think about this for a moment. Removed from all the controversy, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is genuinely the kind of player we should be celebrating. He was ranked just 35th in his high school class, defied those expectations, was selected 11th overall in the draft, and then launched himself into legitimate superstardom. That's the kind of underdog arc that turned players like Giannis Antetokounmpo and Nikola Jokic into beloved figures across the entire league. He is also, without question, one of the hardest working players in the sport, something fans universally respect. And he does it all for a small market franchise. If Shai played with the style and aggression of Anthony Edwards, would we be comparing him to Kobe Bryant? He delivered a championship to Oklahoma City when Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook couldn't. By every measure, he should be a generational fan favorite. But because of the flopping, because of the manufactured contact, a significant portion of fans simply cannot get past it. They don't stop to appreciate that he is one of the most reliable mid-range shooters in the game, or that in clutch moments, he is among the most dependable players on the floor. They see him sell a call, and they're done. So let me ask you another question. Do you think the NBA can actually fix this? On the surface, it seems simple enough. Hand out technical fouls for flopping, issue escalating fines. All it would take is watching Shai Gilgeous-Alexander get ejected from a nationally televised game for flopping, and suddenly every star in the league would think twice.
Kicking it. Crowder? No. And Smart went flying underneath the hoop. Remember, he bruised his ribs in game 2, landed hard there.
And after that, fine, the rule essentially vanished from conversation. Except, here's what most people don't know. In 2024, the league also formally approved technical fouls specifically for flopping. That rule exists right now. It is sitting in the official rulebook. The NBA has simply chosen not to apply it. Think back to Shai flopping on Ayton. The league reviewed that play, overturned the original call, and then issued 0 technical fouls, even though the only way they could justify overturning it was by acknowledging that Shai had flopped. So what is the NBA's explanation? Honestly, it doesn't feel like they have one. The fan complaints keep piling up, and the league keeps looking the other way. But I do have a theory about why, because they have actually addressed situations like this before. Go back to the 2010 season. Kevin Durant had essentially cracked a loophole in the rulebook called the rip-through. He figured out that if a defender placed his hands anywhere near him, he could immediately launch upward into a shot motion and draw a shooting foul almost every single time. Durant led the entire league in free throw attempts that season. Sound familiar? Eventually, fans grew tired of watching basketball played that way. KD wasn't technically breaking any rules, but he wasn't genuinely trying to score. He was engineering trips to the free throw line. So the NBA reclassified it as a non-shooting foul. Players like Joel Embiid and Chris Paul still found ways to exploit it for general foul calls or bonus situations, and because referees were inconsistent, shooting fouls still got called occasionally anyway. So in 2024, the league went further and ruled it a non-basketball move, meaning sometimes no foul would be called at all, and the ball would simply turn over. The result? Rip-throughs have largely disappeared from the game, proof that enforcement works, but also proof that if you don't apply a rule with absolute consistency, nothing fundamentally changes. The clearest example of successful rule enforcement came with James Harden. From 2015 through 2020, Harden led the NBA in free throw attempts every single season. Was he an elite scorer? Absolutely. Was he also distorting how basketball was being played? Without question. In one season alone, Harden drew 124 fouls on three-point attempts. Fan frustration reached a boiling point, and the league responded. The most lasting rule to come from that era was the prohibition on kicking your leg outward on a shot so that a defender inadvertently makes contact. The broader intent of the Harden rules was clear. You cannot manufacture artificial contact on shot attempts to draw fouls. You are not supposed to be able to deliberately jump into a defender who is contesting your shot. The shooting motion has to be natural. And yet, here we are, watching Shai and others jump directly into defenders and still hear the whistle blow. Which brings us back to the same conclusion. If the NBA isn't ruthlessly strict about enforcing its own rule changes, those rules simply don't work. But you would think flopping, of all things, would be the issue the league would finally get serious about. Even if you're in the camp that believes this is overblown, I seriously doubt you enjoy watching players flop. None of us does. So why won't the NBA fix it? The answer is the same reason they have never enforced the flopping rules already on the books. Players get genuinely embarrassed when they are publicly called out for flopping, and the NBA, despite having every logical reason to act, has decided it would rather not antagonize its own stars. If someone like Shai were ejected from a game on national television for flopping, it would damage his personal brand. The NBA would immediately hear from his agents, his sponsors, and potentially the Players Association. All of those pressures, as frustrating as it is to admit, are directly influencing why the NBA refuses to enforce a rule change that basic logic says they should. For this video, I did the research. I went through Reddit threads and scrolled through X, Instagram, and every platform where fan reactions surfaced. And what I kept finding was an alarming number of people saying the current NBA product is simply unwatchable. With the NBA Finals approaching, that problem is about to be placed under an entirely new level of scrutiny.